It's funny.
Hey, SuperheroCritic!
Dude, why are you yelling at me?
I just gotta get your attention. I have a bone to pick with you.
I swear it was dead before I touched it.
No, that we'll worry about another day. This is about your clown month.
I mean, I did just finish Clown Month. I mean, it's a week later than I wanted it to be, but hey, real...
No, wrongo. There's still DC film that you need to look at. And you doing a clown-themed month without even mentioning it? It's a goddamn insult. And I'm not going anywhere until you review the Joker film.
You're joking, aren't you?
Do I look like I'm joking? I can do this all day.
Well then. In 2014 and 2015, Joaquin Phoenix wanted to act in a character study of a comic book villain, but often ruled out the Joker due to the mindset of it's been done, so you can't do it. But the director Todd Phillips also pitched his idea for a Joker-based film as a standalone film away from the DCEU.
The writing process for the film took a year throughout 2017, and Phillips specially wrote the lead role for Joaquin Phoenix in mind. And when he finally agreed to filming it, it began in 2018, and the film was released on October 4th, 2019. You know, before all the shit show and virus crap of 2020.
So let's dive into one of the few DC films I actually enjoy as we take a look at Joker. We begin with a zoom in on our main character, Arthur Fleck, getting ready for work as a clown mascot, but his day goes terrible when a group of kids decide to fuck with him, stealing his sign and lead him down an alley where they turn around and jump him.
Three minutes in, the movie's already depressing as fuck, and I'm already sad. All the time!
Well, you can't spell depression without DC.
We then follow Arthur to his appointment at his doctor, his psychiatrist, where we learn that he has PBA. And no, I'm not talking about peanut butter anal bleaching either. He has a mental condition. The doctor wants to see his journal that he is supposed to keep, showing her he has done more than just write in it. He turned it into a big fucking joke. Arthur then heads home and tries to entertain the boy on the bus, for only his condition to kick in, as his mother doesn't approve, creating a very big distraction.
The movie slowly follows us through Arthur's life, from his long walk home to taking care of his mother, who is awaiting letters from Thomas Wayne. The movie then goes to its very first dream sequence as Arthur wishes he was in the audience of his favorite talk show host. And the scene and many others are inspired by the film Taxi Driver. The scene honors Arthur's love of his mother, and we learn that Arthur's father clearly is not in the picture, as Murray says he'd love to have a kid like him. Hey, it's better to not know your father than to have your father lose all respect for you because of who you are as a person.
Well, that kind of got dark and personal.
Meh, what can you do? Life moves on.
Bum 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 bum. The very next day, one of Arthur's coworkers gives him a gun, you know, for his own protection. Then his boss asks to see him about the incident the other day of him being jumped, but it was treated like it was his fault, and he gets a warning of being fired. We then go see Arthur meet a woman in the elevator and just make small conversation with them, but it puts a smile on his face for even acknowledging his existence. And I know how that feels like. Then, while giving him his mother a bath, B. Arthur talks about being a comedian.
Don't you have to be funny to be a comedian?
Hey, hero, don't you have to be funny to be a comedian?
You mean, yeah, I'm funny. You're so mean to me. Why is everyone mean to me all the time? We get a quick scene of Arthur messing around with the pistol beginning to dance and imitating what he sees on the TV, accidentally shooting his wall. Arthur then basically stalks his neighbor as she walks around the city, minding her own business before he goes to a comedy show to take notes, not being able to control his laugh when it needs to be controlled.
Arthur's very hot neighbor comes by and asks him if he was following her. You know, the girl he's talked to in the elevator? But instead of doing the same thing, she accepts his invite to go hang out with. Arthur then goes to work at a hospital cheering up sick children, but in the process, the pistol he had, well, it falls out of his pants leg.
I don't think that should be in a hospital, especially a kid's one.
Oh, come on, hero. He just wanted to give the kids a big blast at the show.
Leave. Now. This, of course, leads to Arthur being fired over the phone, and on his way home, 3 drunk men begin singing "Send in the Clowns" and start messing with him, which leads to Arthur needing to use his pistol in self-defense, killing 2 right away, but injuring the 3rd, forcing him to have to run after him and finish the job.
He runs from the crime scene, ends up in a bathroom, where he starts practicing dancing as a way of embracing the madness that just occurred. Then he rushes back home and ends up making out with his hot neighbor. The next day, Arthur cleans out his locker and lets the rest of his coworkers know it was Randall that gave him the gun in the first place.
The news covers the murders, and we learn that most people are praising the murders instead of condemning them, and like a typical rich person, Thomas Wayne just blames the people praising instead of looking for the reason as to why 3 rich kids were killed. Arthur then has another appointment with his doctor, and he points out that as a doctor, she never notices him, and her response is to tell him that they are losing funding. One thing I do love about this film is how it really portrays politicians in real life, seeing as they don't care about minorities, the poor, or the disabled. So this portrayal is kind of on the nose.
I don't know what you possibly mean by that. B. Arthur has his first comedy gig at a club, but due to his PBA, he can't finish his jokes and flops about being funny to the audience. The movie then goes onto a montage that feels like another mindfuck, where Arthur and his neighbor are on a date, the hot neighbor. And noticing all of the clown vigilante posters, people are celebrating by giving Arthur a face.
That night, Arthur's mother has written a letter addressed to Thomas Wayne, and in the letter it alludes that Arthur is Thomas Wayne's illegitimate child, which of course pisses Arthur off, causing a fight between him and his mother. Arthur then goes to visit Wayne Manor, where he runs into a young Bruce and puts on a clown show. But it ends up with him just being extremely creepy and messing with Bruce's face.
Yeah, look at that little Batman.
Who's a paedophile?
Bruce is saved by Alfred, who just shoos Arthur away. Shoo, 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 shoo. After denying Thomas Wayne had anything to do with his mother Penny. And when Alfred laughs at him, reaches out and chokes him. B. Arthur then comes home, and he is shocked to discover that his mother is being escorted to the hospital. Outside the hospital, a couple of detectives begin questioning Arthur about what happened, and he plays it coy and acts like he knows nothing about the situation.
Sophie is by Arthur's side but leaves the hospital, and while watching TV, The Murray Show shows Arthur's stand-up routine, mocking him and shattering his own world. However, once he watches the news at home, he quickly sees how much of an influence his clown capades have created and heads to a riot to bask in the greatness of his creation. They need to be 6 feet apart, and where is their mask?
Luckily for me, I'm always wearing one, because I don't want anyone to see my ugly, terrifying, scarred-up face. I guess I can show you for a second to show you what I mean. See? See what I mean? Fucking terrifying, isn't it? Arthur then sneaks his way into a Charlie Chaplin film where Thomas Wayne is, and he meets him in the restroom while he's dressed like an usher, and confronts him about being his son. Of course, Thomas denies all of it, alluding to Arthur's mom adopting him. The scene ends with Arthur getting punched in the face.
Arthur, for some reason, puts himself in the fridge, sulking about life, where he then gets a phone call from the Murray Show inviting him to be on the show for an interview, which he gladly accepts. Arthur then goes to Arkham to figure out who's telling the truth to him by asking for his mom's personal records, stealing the paper after it's denied to him. Arthur then reads his mom's work, learning he was abused as a child and that Thomas was telling the truth on his mother and her delusional state.
Arthur then walks home in the rain. Aww. But instead of going to his own home, he looks at his hot neighbors, who are startled to see him, and she acts as if she had no idea who he is. And as we learn that the whole time she was with him was all mental delusions, and the movie alludes to Arthur hurting her in some way. Arthur then goes to the hospital and takes the rage out on his mother by smothering her.
No, I really wish I could just smother all of the toxic people in my life. Arthur continues his study of Murray's show because he wants it as perfect as possible, even down to how he speaks, sits, or talks to Murray, involving his gun, implying he plans on killing himself on air. We then get a montage of Arthur getting ready by dyeing his hair green and painting his face using the clown mask. Two of his ex-co-workers then show up to consult him, and the visit ends up with the big guy getting stabbed to death with scissors while the little guy is given the chance to leave because he was one of the very few people that was ever nice to Arthur.
This starts probably the most well-known scene in the whole film, as our new Joker dancing up and down a set of stairs to the song Rock and Roll before the detectives interrupt his dancing. And they start a chase scene through Gotham where he's run over by a taxi. And then he goes to a subway car filled with clowns, giving Arthur an escape, when a fight breaks out leading to the detectives killing a random person, thinking it is him.
With chaos imploding, Arthur is able to get away and makes it to the show, and when him and Murray are discussing how the show goes, he requests to be called Joker. Joker is brought onto stage during the show, and it begins like any other interview, but is turned on Murray when the facts are brought into play. Facts such as Murray only bringing Arthur on the show to make fun of him and admitting to killing the Wall Street kids. These leads to a huge speech from Joker about how corrupt the city has become and how people with power matter, but those who don't matter get stepped on, leading to one of my personal favorite scenes from the film.
That will not be a joke.
What do you get?
I don't think so.
When you cross a mentally ill loner with a society that abandons him and treats him like trash!
Call the police,
I'll
Gene.
tell you what you get!
Call the police.
Get what you fucking deserve!
Boom! Headshot!
The city implodes in madness as the clown mob reacts to the broadcast and Joker being arrested. Joker loving the chaos he's created. However, the cop car carrying him is hit by a masked clown. Joker is saved by his mob. And during all the chaos, we follow Thomas Wayne leaving a movie theater. And a certain scene in Batman Mythos is shown as Bruce's parents are yet again killed in front of him. Like always. We've had enough. Stop showing it!
Joker wakes up seeing the chaos unfolding, leaving a bloody smile on his face as he dances on top of the cop car, embracing the icon he's officially become. The movie then ends with Arthur in custody laughing at a joke that the social worker just wouldn't understand. But then it cuts to Arthur walking down the hallway with bloody footprints implying that he just murdered that social worker.
Despite very mixed reviews from critics, Joker was a very successful film. making $1 billion on a $70 million budget, blowing out the box office, being the first and only R-rated film to ever make that much. This also made the film the 31st highest grossing film of all time. Now, although it was originally intended as a standalone film, there may be future sequels later down the road.
So I personally really enjoyed this movie. It dives into the depression, how people are treated when they have mental illnesses, and the overall aspect of what can drive someone to become something like the Joker. And personally, while it got a lot of hate, I think it's one of the best DC movies out there. So, what are you gonna do?
See, Hero, aren't you glad you sat through another DC film?
Glad? No, not really. But I did enjoy the film, like I've said, and overall, it's probably one of my favorite top 10 superhero films now. But I do thank you for sitting through it with me and enjoying it. But if you'll excuse me, I need to go start on my anniversary episode for Thanksgiving.
Oh! Can I get a hint what you're doing next?
Let's just say it's going to be more phenomenal.